Eneo hili si hivyo.
Mambo ni matatu.
Ladies and gentlemen, William Ruto is a very happy man today. William Ruto is very happy because something he's been praying for happened yesterday without even his intervention. The united opposition yesterday officially divided itself into two. Two camps officially emerged in the united opposition. And that's good news for William Samoei Arap Ruto. Because the only way the united opposition were going to defeat Ruto is if they remained united. Yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua, Eugene Wamalwa, and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka held a meeting where they addressed the press.
Mwanaume amepitia mambo mengi sana. Pigwa tiagas kanisani, PCA huko, pigwa huko kwa Matanga Limuru. Now he's a target. What used to be Railaphobia has now become Rigathi-phobia.
And while they were doing that, Fred Okengo Matiang'i was also holding another meeting, separate one, with a section of the united opposition leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition is finally divided. And that's exactly what William Ruto wanted. In this video, I want us to look at the meeting which took place yesterday, where Matiang'i apparently chaired. Let me read for you what we gathered. Ladies and gentlemen, let me read for you what the people really posted. In pictures, Dr. Fred Matiang'i met with opposition leaders Martha Karua, Peter Munya, Uhuru Kenyatta, Lenny Kivitu, and James Magara, joined by the opposition spokesperson Muhisa Kitui to discuss strengthening the opposition and advancing their push for better governance. If you are keen, you should have noted something, that there's no way you can strengthen the opposition when the other camp is on the other side. This statement would have made sense if the entire opposition were here, but the other camp was the other side. In this video, I want us to look at that meeting and the objective which it was intended to achieve. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And with the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now official, unless a miracle is going to happen, that the opposition is now divided into two. Previously, it was just speculations. Anybody who has been following the developments in the opposition, it was very clear that Rigathi Gachagua was not going to allow Uhuru Kenyatta to sponsor Fred Matiang'i as a presidential candidate. And again, there was no way Fred Matiang'i was going to allow Rigathi Gachagua to dictate how he was going to play his politics. But these are my take about yesterday's meeting. Number one, you can clearly see the hand of Uhuru Kenyatta in the camp where Fred Matiang'i is. Let me read for you, or let me just go through the list of the people who are present here. There was Uhuru Kenyatta. Yatani was the Minister for Finance when Uhuru Kenyatta was the president. So definitely, he is Uhuru Kenyatta's person. There was Peter Munya. Peter Munya was Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet secretary for agriculture. Again, you can see the hands of Uhuru Kenyatta there. The surprise inclusion in this list is Lenny Kivuti. And this can actually explain to me why the united opposition failed in Mbeere North, which is in Embu County. And I want to assume that Lenny Kivuti is now going to be the man in charge of these camps political activities in Embu. The person whose name has surprised me in this list is Karua. Of course, for Mukhisa Kitui, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by the inclusion of Mukhisa Kitui for one reason. Fred Matiang'i is being pushed by the superpowers to run for the presidency. We all know that Mukhisa Kitui held a very senior position at the UN. So he will easily align to that camp. But clearly you can tell that this camp is being pushed by Uhuru Kenyatta. And that's the fact. So that's number one. Number two, I'm looking at this meeting as part of the team, the united opposition, falling for William Ruto's trap. For those who've been following this channel, I've explained on many occasions that there was no way William Ruto was going to allow the opposition to unite and front a single candidate. That was not going to happen. That was not going to happen. And indeed, it has not materialized. The truth is, in 2027, we are going to have Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka on the ballot. That is guaranteed. Again, we are likely to have Fred Matiang'i on the ballot. Fred Matiang'i is going to be pushed by Uhuru Kenyatta. On the other hand, Kalonzo Musyoka is going to be pushed by Gachagua. That's exactly what William Ruto wanted. So that if they'll go for a rerun, because the truth is, there's a high chance that the final results might not determine the winner in the first round, which means Kenyans might be forced to go for a rerun. And that's where William Ruto is targeting. Because at the end of the day, if you have Kalonzo and Matiang'i running, and one of them becomes number two, assuming Ruto will be number one, Ruto will easily go for the third one. Because of the bitterness. For example, if Matiang'i will be number three, there's a high chance that Ruto will go for Matiang'i. Because Matiang'i will feel betrayed. If Kalonzo will be number three, his team will persuade him to work with Ruto because Ruto is a sitting president and therefore chances are high. In fact, I'm looking at the making of post-election agreement from that meeting. Number three, there is something which most people don't want to talk about. And I think who spoke about it? That Rigathi Gachagua is very popular, but that his popularity is going to cost the opposition. Why? Because Rigathi Gachagua is determined to be Mount Kenya kingpin. For him, if he can achieve that, he's sorted. He doesn't care who becomes the next president, whether it's Ruto, whether it's Kalonzo, whether it's Matiang'i. And because of that, he's already focused on the direction he wants to take. And the direction he's taking is that Fred Matiang'i cannot be a presidential candidate. And that no any other leader should emerge from the mountain. And that's why Martha Karua is now bolting out. Because Martha is also eyeing Mount Kenya. And because of that determination, Fred Matiang'i had to make a choice. And that choice for me was not a difficult one. I'm going to run for the presidency. And because Rigathi is fetting me, I'm going to try to reach out individually. That's how he has reached out to Peter Munya. That's how he has reached out to Yatani. That's how he has reached out to Mukhisa Kitui. That's how he has reached out to Lenny Kivuti. I'm so sure because I understand the operations of Matiang'i. Matiang'i is going to surprise these people. He's moving underground. Currently, he has managed to win people like Wahome Puku, who are allies of Rigathi. So he's doing that silently. And lastly, and this is something which most political pundits had predicted, that we're likely to have a third force. And that's what we are witnessing. So this third force, how they are going to package themselves, basically is going to determine whether they'll become the president or not. But I think through this move, the biggest beneficiary is none other than William Samoei Arap Ruto. For Kalonzo Musyoka is also a beneficiary because now he can focus on his 2027 presidential bid. Because Kalonzo was going to be on the ballot under any circumstance. There was nothing which was going to stop Kalonzo Musyoka from being on the ballot. Being on the ballot in 2027 was the only lifeline for Kalonzo. For Matiang'i, he has a lot of work to do, a lot of it, because now he has the Jubilee baggage. Now the face of Uhuru Kenyatta is emerging, so it's going to be very easy for someone like, let's say, even Kalonzo, or even Gachagua, to start branding them wheelbarrows. I don't know what you think, but for me, this should not have happened if these guys wanted to defeat Ruto. And because it has happened, they are not going to defeat Ruto. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Lima Kwenye. Bye-bye.